What's up, everyone? Chris here from MTR Network. Back with another video. So we're doing something new today. So if you listen to our Super Tuesday Recap podcast, if you're not, go and subscribe. You can get it on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, anywhere you get your favorite podcast. Just put Super Tuesday Recap in there and you'll get the podcast. But every month, we do our mailbag where myself and my co-host, Deepam, we take your listener emails, we read them, we discuss them. And we have like various topics, not just on comic books, but on movies and TV shows within the nerd realm. And we discuss them and talk about them. And what we started last month, for the one that just came out, like literally I put it out on Friday, was we're going to do a pull list where we basically just go through every list of comic books that we have read for that month, because we read a lot of comic books. So I figured we'd stop and I start doing a little video for that and kind of going through kind of what's in my pull list, what I'm actually reading, because some things are in my pull list I'm not actually reading, some things I'm subscribed to. So I'm just gonna go through all that stuff, and I do almost all my stuff through Comixology and digital anyway. So I'll be discussing that stuff. But before we get into that, I do want to take just a little bit of time before we get into talking about what I'm actually reading right now, just to talk about the Daily Beast put out an article talking about those Comicsgate anti-SJW people, and it's been pretty revealing, I guess, for some who didn't know these people were that transphobic, homophobic, racist, and sexist. Like, I've been battling them in my mentions, and if you're subscribed here, you might have seen them on my SJW video where they've all just been saying the dumbest shit. But the part that I love the most is the dude who runs the diversity in comics thing, Richard C. Meyer. Almost called him Richard Spencer. What's up with Richards, yo? Name Richards. Call him Dick Meyer. What I love about this is they did this whole thing, and they go through this whole thing about, you know, where he came from, what he's about, and just his history. He's had an assault and stuff like that. It was old. It was 20 years ago. Says he's not doing it now. He used to be in the military. But here's the thing I love the most. It's this. While working in the Bay Area, Meyer told the Daily Beast he began noticing posters of Captain Marvel in the windows of comic retailers. He was annoyed by what he considered the masculinization of the character and by the way he felt Marvel was pushing what he considered an unsuccessful book. Started noticing a lot of more weird stuff. Feminization of men, masculinization of women, basically all the classic heterosexual pairings being destroyed. You realize it's a trend and you start wondering why they're doing this. Why is Luke Cage, the quintessential blaxploitation tough guy, why is he pushing a baby carriage and he's the wimpiest, most soft-spoken? This is not done on accident. Like I said, he's transphobic. He's homophobic. It's right there, and he doesn't hide from it. It doesn't even go. He then later went on to Twitter, and after days of trying to deny that I'm not transphobic, I don't do that, he literally went after Michelle Perez, misgendering her on purpose several times and not backing down from it. Like, the dude is proof right here, guys. So if you're gonna comment on the video and try to say that he's not transphobic, read his own tweets. He stopped getting a boner from looking at Captain Marvel posters, and Carol Danvers wasn't doing it for him anymore, so he assumes that he's gonna get all angry. Like, that's where it came from. I told you guys, this is a bunch of dude bros who are mad because they can't jerk off to female characters anymore. Fucking losers. Anyway, that's what this video is about. We're going to be talking about comics that I am reading, stuff that we discussed. I mean, some of these I've discussed for a while, and it's going to be really fun doing this because I do a mix of, like, I think most people that do these videos on what they're reading, they really do like the latest comic, like the latest thing in there. And I'll be honest, I'm busy. I don't always get the latest thing. We do our character corner where we're always going back and reading like older issues and new issues to doing our research. So I feel like this will be really fun because I'll be able to kind of go into some of the things I'm reading, and not all of it's going to be the new stuff. So I'm going to be going back and reading some of the old stuff. Like, I'm going to tell you right now, when we do next month, there's going to be a lot of Batman stuff because we have a Batman character corner we got to finish up. So I'll be reading a lot of older Batman stuff. So I think this is going to be really fun. So before we do that, what I want to do is, like I said, most of my issues I do digitally. It's just easier. I can fit everything into my little tablet. I have, what is this? I think this is the Samsung Tab A or something like that. I can't remember. It's one of the latest Samsungs, and I have a 128 gig hard drive, SD card in it. And so anything I want to read, I can fit it on there. So I do everything pretty much on my tablet. So this is what I have in my Comixology right now. I don't have I only have 14 active subscriptions, but I read way more than this. So right now I have Batman, Black Panther, 2 books from Catalyst Prime, from Lionforge, Catalyst Prime Noble, Catalyst Prime Superb, Darth Vader, Detective Comics, Doomsday Clock, Invincible Iron Man, Saga, Spider-Man, The Flash, The Mighty Thor, Titans, and Uber Invasion. And I'll go more into these as we go along. But that's just what I have currently in my month-to-month subscription list of things I'm reading here. But I read way more than that. Like, you know, especially when there's a Comixology sale, buy one, get one free. And I think Marvel did one recently. I'll go out and I'll buy a bunch of trades. I'll buy a bunch of issues that I've been dying to catch up on. I just put them in my tablet and look. So kind of got to go in my tablet real quick and double check what it is I actually have. Cause some of the stuff I download and I don't actually get to. So I guess I'll go through. Let me go through by publisher. So of what I'm reading. So first one, let's go through Marvel. Some of the stuff I'm reading. I think in my list you even see that I have more subscribed to Marvel. But the first book is one I'm actually not subscribed to. At least I haven't been. I think I finally subscribed to it. Is Thanos. I've been hearing really good things about this book. I heard really good things about Lemire's first 2 volumes. So I went and got those. That's ones where Thanos has returned to Titan and doesn't have his powers. And it's this kind of journey of him going to get his powers back. And it's pretty... You're kind of reminded of why Thanos is the most feared in the galaxy. And like I said, I want to say... Oh, man. I can't remember. I want to say that's 12 issues. The first 12 issues of that. Of him just getting that and going through there. So like the second volume is the God Query, where he's actually getting his powers back. Like at one point he actually gets defeated by his son. Volume 2 is him actually, you know, having been defeated, trying to get his powers back. And I think it's actually really kind of cool. The next one though, that's where Donny Cates comes in, and it's the Thanos Wins series. And it's basically, you go to the millions of years in the future where Thanos has won. He brings his younger self to help him defeat, you know, the Fallen. And you see that Thanos... I'll set it up this way. There is a Frank Castle that is the spirit of vengeance, but also has the power cosmic. The Silver Surfer can wield Mjolnir, and just... It's really good. Like, I finally got to I finally caught up with all of them on that, and now I kind of hate that I'm caught up because now I have to wait until the next issue comes out, and it's really good. So, reading that. Another book that I'm not subscribed to, but I just subscribed to, and it's only 5 issues, and that's Rogue Gambit. Kelly Thompson is writing that, and I actually like Kelly Thompson's work. I want to go back and read her Hawkeye run. I did read her Phasma book, which... To me, the worst thing about the Phasma book is that I wish it was longer, because I was just so enthralled with that book. I almost love almost all of the Star Wars books. Like, all the Star Wars books have been great. But she's writing Rogue Gambit, and so here's a funny thing I think a lot of people forget, and this is going to come into some play with some of these other books involving solo or maybe duo characters involved. I feel like the solo books are where you really dig deep into the characters and find out what really motivates them and what's really going on with them. And it's kind of like when you think about Batman. When you read a Batman solo book, it really digs into, especially recently with Snyder and Tom King, what makes Bruce Wayne tick, what makes Batman tick, getting into his head, showing him vulnerable and going from there. Now, when he's on the Justice League, it's larger than life, and that's what usually happens with this. So when you get this Rogue Gambit book, what I really find interesting about it is really about them. They're going undercover in this paradise/couples counseling group to figure out why mutants are going missing. Kitty has sent them there, and it's funny because they really do go through couples counseling during this. I actually find the couples counseling parts more interesting than the other parts where they're actually trying to figure out what's going on in this facility. And it's really good because it really goes down and breaks down. I feel like this has been one of the first books that really breaks down Rogue and Gambit's relationship and really focuses on them working that out. I mean, their relationship has been a mess, and them going through couples counseling with this and kind of going through this book and seeing their feelings for each other, it feels genuine. Because I kind of feel like sometimes Gambit, I like Gambit, but kind of a creep. So I really feel like this has been a really, really interesting run, and I really, really enjoy it. It's only 5 issues. I think issue 4 probably comes out later this month, and I think issue 5 comes out in May. So really looking forward to that. Like I'm really looking forward to finishing up this run. Like I said, it's only 5 issues, not bad. Only 3 are out right now, so I'll caught up on that. Let's see what else I have here. I mentioned because I was talking about Kelly Thompson. I was talking about Star Wars. This Darth Vader book is fucking great. I love Charles Sou's Vader run. It is like, here's a perfect sum up of the Vader run. So anybody who's watched me or listened to me talk about comic books, you know I love Kieran Gillen's Vader run. And that Darth Vader book was basically, it took place right after episode 4 and what happened, right before Empire. It kind of shows you what happened with, Vader is established as a badass. People still fear him, but he's kind of lost the favor of the Emperor, and he has to kind of build his way back with the Emperor. But everybody else in the universe kind of fears him. What's really interesting about this run here is nobody knows who the fuck Vader is. So nobody fears him like they should fear him. So yeah, he's a tall, imposing dude in with a lightsaber, and he's dressed in all black. And people are like, "We killed the Jedi, so who the fuck are you?" And so it's just really interesting. So this is him kind of establishing his power. Like the beginning of the book is him actually going and trying to get a lightsaber because he didn't have a fucking lightsaber. It's him having to kind of build a legend that becomes Darth Vader. And nothing says this more than I think is issue 12. So I think issue 13 recently came out, and that's good. But issue 12 did it for me. Vader is so disrespected that some of the Imperial Guard is actually trying to kill him, and there have been several attempts to try to kill him. And so eventually he goes to Emperor, and Emperor's like, okay, I guess you got to do something to kind of establish the fact that you are my right-hand man. And, I haven't really been telling people that you are kind of in charge here, so you can do what you got to do. And Vader basically goes out and says, listen, you guys have been trying to kill me. You're always going to lose, and I'm always going to stay alive. But this is what's going to happen. Every time you try to kill me, I'm going to pick 5 random officers, and I'm going to kill them. And he does it in front of the entire battalion. Vader is like I said, it's building the legend of Vader. There were a lot of badass moments of Vader and Kieran Gillen's run. And this run right here, just 12 issues in, there are nothing to the level of, I'm surrounded by fear and dead men, but it's pretty damn close. He flooded a village at one point. So and that's been pretty good. So I've been loving reading the Vader run. Let's see what else I got here. Let's go and do this because I know this is also going to be one of those triggering things for the anti-SJW crowd. I'm all the way caught up on Bendis's final run in Invincible Iron Man. And look, so there's 2 sets of criticisms for Riri Williams. One I think is valid, one I think isn't. The valid criticism I think comes from some black women who feel like, there could be, and again, it goes back to my whole thing about writing solo characters is when you write a solo character, you really want to get into the core of the characters. That gets into more of what it means to be them. And so I feel like there are some black women out here who feel like Riri Williams could be written a little bit better, but not in the way that the anti-SJW crowd means, but just like more realistic in terms of how, or talking more about the struggles that she as a young black girl goes through. She's a young, smart black girl dealing with all this stuff. So they kind of want to see that. And I'm actually kind of excited to see because some of the names have been floated for writing her. I've been kind of excited to see what Marvel does, and I hope they do pick a black woman to write going forward. That said, the people, the anti-SJW crowd, doesn't matter who is writing it, doesn't matter how good it is, they're still going to hate Riri Williams because they always do. Like, I'm sorry, those comments from these people, I was seeing things like, they made her a thug, she stole something. Really? That's what we're going to do? We're going to do, like, some of the comments I've seen about this shit is terrible. I saw one dude who read the first book, he was like, And she would get introduced in Civil War II, and she was fighting other heroes that she was going to have to interact with later on. She fought beside the champions, who she actually works with, the other kids, who also said that this was bullshit, and left with them. So what are you talking about, dude? Anyway, what I love about this whole thing with the search for Tony Stark is you have two different tracks going on here. There's the Riri Williams stuff, but I think feel like all the anti-SJW focus on and is on her, which she's doing fine. Like, I think the story here with Riri is her coming into her own and her finding her own way and becoming her own hero. Finding out if she wants to be a hero. Finding out if she wants to go back and work with MIT and things like that. Like, I've really been enjoying what's going on with that. And how they did it. Like, I thought it was it's really, really funny when she didn't know who Blade was. And when you think about it, you're like, that can make sense. And then she started freaking out the fact that there was a vampire in her garage. The other part of this book, though, is, and I love how they switch in the middle of the book, they'll switch the art styles, is talking about Doom. You know, Victor been going around as Iron Man, and that story is basically Victor, you know, who used to be a villain, trying to prove that he can be a hero and trying way too hard and not succeeding. And I feel like, especially with the announcement of the Fantastic Four coming back, Victor's going through some shit, and I think Victor's going to end up going back to villainy because, I mean, he's good at it, but nobody believes him, and everybody kind of treats him like it's a foregone conclusion that he's going to go back. And right now, he's coming up against like some third-rate villains who are trying to raid his place, and I really feel like they keep pushing Victor, and he's going to slaughter them, and that's going to be when he snaps. And I've really been enjoying seeing that dual track of seeing Riri have the support and having people who are really backing her, you know, from Pepper, from MJ to Tony's mom, having all these people that are backing her and helping her become a hero, whereas Victor is actually trying to be a hero and nobody wants to give him any kind of credit. And everybody's basically going, you're going to go bad. It's going to happen. It's in your DNA. So I think that's really fucking great. And then the final one that I'm actually reading right now is, God damn you, Jason Aaron. That Mighty Thor. Listen, what I love about what they've done with this whole, the death of the Mighty Thor thing with Jane, and Jane sacrificing herself in this last issue, is it really touches on things that you always see with Thor comics. One, if you've been reading just Jason Aaron's run to begin with, you know, the God Butcher story ends with him, with Thor basically trying to sacrifice himself. You know, the older Thor saying he's dying like a god to sacrifice and save all of history and all the gods throughout history. Here you have Jane, who openly admits that yes, the gods have forgotten us. Yes, the gods have forsaken us sometimes, but she chooses to remember the good that the gods have done and focus on love, and then sacrifices herself. Yes, she's the goddess of thunder, but she's also pretty much, her body is mortal. She's a mortal person. She sacrificed herself. I can't remember. It reminds me of Dan Jurgens' run with Thor, where I was meant to look it up. I can't remember the young man who sacrificed himself when Loki and Doom were trying to take over Asgard. Like, it reminds me of that, where you have this selfless sacrifice of her doing this, and it's just a great fucking run. Like, I'm really, really glad Jason Aaron's staying on Thor, because this has been fantastic. Then also have Spider-Man and Black Panther. I'm not caught up on yet. I like reading. Again, there's nothing wrong with those. Again, in the time I have to read some other stuff, I just haven't got up to them. Plus, I like to build those up anyway and read those in bulk. So I've been reading those, and I just haven't caught up on those yet. So over to DC. DC, I'm catching them on Flash, and man, that 2 a month thing is really, really kicking my ass right now. Well, I love it that there's always something there, but right now I think there's like 46 issues of the Flash, and I'm like on issue 29. Like, I'm so fucking far behind. I'm loving it. I think it's great. I just haven't been able to catch up because something always pops up where there's a character corner I'm gonna do research for. But I'm really loving that. Like I said, I'm subscribed. I'm gonna catch up before the end of this month. Let you guys know I'm waiting on that Flash War to start, so I'm trying to get into that. I'm gonna save Batman for last. Doomsday Clock. Listen, I like Doomsday Clock. I know issue 4 just came out last week. Haven't read it. I'm gonna do with Doomsday Clock what I do with Saga, and I'm just gonna let it build up. I know they're on an every 2 month schedule now, and so here's the problem. It's it's a lot, and so it's not bad at all. I don't want to get in that thing, but like they do these almost every page is 9 panels, and it's just a lot of material and a lot of information to take in. And so if they're really doing every other month release for Doomsday Clock, it's just too much for me to remember what happened in the previous month to keep up with that. So I'm just gonna build it up and read it all at once. I think that will feel better and flow better than me trying to remember every other month what I read the previous 2 months before. So again, I like it. I'm just gonna build it up. With that, I need to catch up on Titans. I have Titans. I'm a Wally West fan, so I'm gonna always have Titans in my run. There's Detective Comics is also another one they got to build up. I've been reading it. It just takes me a while to catch up on that one. And the big one, I bought a bunch of Green Arrow stuff. But like I want to say 3 or 4 volumes of Green Arrow. That's one of my next big deep dive into. I've heard good things about that run. I'm gonna read that. Batman. Listen, Tom King writing Batman feels like a cheat code. It just like these recent issues right here with Ivy were so good, and it's not because of Batman. Yeah, you get some really cool Batman things like Batman taking down an Ivy controlled Superman with a whistle, and then them explaining it. Like I love how they do this and they show you when Batman can beat Superman or these other villains or these other heroes, and they kind of explain how, and it makes sense. But what really got me in these 3 issues with Ivy and Batman, it had less to do with Ivy, and it had more to do with the fact that the solution was bringing back basically the Gotham City Sirens. You had, the solution was to bring Harley back and have Harley really sit down and talk to Ivy, and there's also Catwoman there. And you remember, like, it ties into the war jokes and riddles, and Riddler's a piece of shit to Ivy, which kind of goes back to Gotham City Sirens. He's a shitty person there. Like, I just really like how Tom King is, he's not deconstructing these characters, but just kind of getting it and digging down into what makes them who they are. Like, those 3 issues on Ivy, I mean, they were perfect, beautiful. And maybe I'm, again, a little biased here because I'm in the middle of doing another run of Arkham Knight, and Ivy sacrifices herself in that. So, I don't know, I just really got... I really felt a connection there, and I felt that. I felt her pain on that and what was going on there. And I love the fact that it was basically the solution was to break Harley out of Ivy's control and have Harley just sit down and basically give her a hug and say, "We're gonna get you some help." Look, I know people are gonna be like, "Oh, well, it's too much talking. It's too much. Not enough Batman being Batman." Like, I don't know. I like that kind of shit. I think it was really good. I think it really breaks down into what the characters are and what they mean. And yeah, I thought that was fucking fantastic. So, some stuff that's not out of the big 2. One, Uber Invasion. I caught up on that. I want to say Uber Invasion is issue 12. I have that back here. My Uber Invasion. I got when Uber Invasion started. Karen Gillan writes it. When they did the Kickstarter for this, I made sure I went and grabbed that, and so I got the first 6 issues, and I fucking love Uber Invasion. It's the schedule sometimes is kind of weird, but when an issue comes out, I fucking love it. It's, if you know me and you've heard me talk about Uber, then you know Uber Invasion is basically when I'm gonna do a whole other thing on Uber. We'll just leave it there. If you've never read this, go find it from Avatar Press. Get the first set of issues. I want to say they're like 30 or 35 issues. Read Uber, and then after that, the second season, if you will, is Uber Invasion. It's, what I love about it is it's basically if there were superpowers during World War II, and let's say there's an arms race in building Superman. And what I love about the way Gillen writes this is he writes it almost in like a historian way. So it's like you're reading a historical telling of this in comic book form, and it's really intriguing. And some stuff happened in the last issue made me go, I thought things were wrapping up, and I'm like, well, maybe things are just heating up. So I'm really excited to see where Uber Invasion goes, so keep reading that. 2 things I'm always hearing the comics gate people, the SJW people, always talking about how they support these books, but they never talk about this. The Catalyst Prime books from Line Forge are really, really good. I love Noble and Superb. Like Superb deals with two kids, a young black girl, and I believe the young man has Down syndrome. But it's really, really cool. Like they don't. It actually took me reading somebody else saying that he had Down syndrome, because it's not like they don't hide. I guess they don't hide it, but it's not like, it's just what it is. Like him and his own girl, they're best friends. They have superpowers. It's really, really well. I really, really enjoy it. I believe I want to say that's David Walker and Sheena Williams. I might be wrong on that one. Let me double check my books, because I don't want to lie to you guys about what these are. Again, see how easy this is to get them from my tablet. I fucking love this. Let's see. Yes, Sheena Howard. Sorry, that's the last name. Sheena Howard and David Walker are writing Superb, and who's writing Noble? Noble is written by Brandon Thomas, and I think as Brandon Thomas, and yeah, Brandon Thomas. Now the thing about Noble was, it started off kind of weird. It's like you got to read the Catalyst Prime Free Comic Book Day book to kind of get some understanding with that. Noble reads kind of weird at first in that first volume, because you feel like you're missing something. Here's the thing, because I don't want to spoil any of this stuff. The thing about Noble is, it's written that way on purpose. It's written so you don't have all the answers in that first volume. And I think because they knew that they were going to be able to get this book wasn't going to be canceled, it gives the writers an ability to kind of be able to go through and just do them and tell the story they want to tell. And so, yeah, there's a lot of confusing in that first volume, but then as you start reading, it starts filling in gaps. So it's all on purpose. So yeah, no, definitely check out Noble. It's really, really great. Last thing is Saga. Here's the thing about Saga. I have it on my list. I don't read Saga right away. And the reason why I don't read Saga right away is because I feel this empty feeling in myself when I don't have more Saga to read. So I kind of let it build up for 6 issues, and then I read 6 issues at a time because I don't want to stop. So, and it also times out pretty perfectly, because that's usually around the time when we do our comic book club on Saga, and also when the book goes on break. So then I don't feel bad, and I'm suffering around with everybody else, and I'm not doing the month-to-month thing. So that's my thing with Saga. I know Saga issue 50 just came out, and so yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. So that's it. Those are the big books right there. I'm trying to think. Last month we did a Batman character corner, so we read a lot. I read a lot of 70s Batman coming up to the a lot of the stuff with Ra's, like Ra's first appearance, the demon lives, and that kind of stuff. That stuff was really, really good. I also went back and read the stuff involving Tim Drake's first appearance, so that stuff was also really good as well. So check that stuff out. Definite Family, I went back and read that one too, but it's okay. It is what it is. I'm trying to think. I didn't really have anything else this month, but I know next month coming up we have a lot of other books to read for Character Corner. So there you guys have it. Leave me a comment in leave me a comment below. Let me know what you guys are reading this month, or last month actually. Let me know what you're reading March. And like I said, it's early in April, so if you have any suggestions for things I should be reading in April, let me know. And I'll be back end of this month, beginning of May, to see what exactly I read. So again, folks, make sure you subscribe, like the channel, leave a comment. Like I said, check out our other comic book podcast, the Character Corner and Super Tuesday Recap. And those are on all your favorite podcast channels. So again, folks, thank you guys very much for listening. And until next time, I am out of here. Peace.